Danny, hi, Soccer with Colony, helping people do their business better. The global pandemic accelerated many organizations' transition to remote work models. Heading into our second year of living in a continued state of uncertainty, organizations have made significant changes to how their employees communicate and collaborate. Cloud-based communications are being adopted and used. Business and IT leaders are developing new audio and video device standards to support the new normal of hybrid work or permanent remote work models. How do organizations know if their employees are utilizing approved devices? How do organizations deploy, monitor, and manage devices for a dispersed workforce? How can IT teams better support a remote workforce and mitigate potential issues and reduce help desk ticket submissions? The solution? Device management software. The leading device manufacturers have developed device management software that is free or as a paid subscription. They also offer different delivery methods. So we have Poly, Logitech, EPOS, and Jabra all here to discuss software or device management software and why. And so I'm just going to ask some questions, and we'll start with Marty. So Marty, please provide a brief overview of your solution and share a real-world example of how it's benefited a client.
Well, thanks, Danny, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm proud to be here. So PolyLens is a management component, a cloud-based portal that offers device management across voice, video, and headsets, as well as USB speakerphones. And importantly, also delivers insights that IT can make action on. All right. It's very important for our customers to understand that management is really the keystone of their deployment, right? It's especially important when we think about the scale that we've seen in the pandemic. We've seen huge growth in the number of devices. Traditionally, we've seen just management of maybe video rooms. But if you think about the pandemic impact, now individuals are having 1, 2, 3 devices per user. And so that's an exponential growth and really key to the ability to manage that experience. Let's face it, IT staff isn't growing, but the number of complexities is not only inside of the campus, but out into the work from home users. So management is really critical. And then giving IT the appropriate visibility into the use cases, knowing if the systems are being used, if there's a way that they need troubleshooting immediately, that is where the cloud portal really excels. Now, as far as an example for customers, again, IT challenge really is managing the scale. And this is a prime example with a very large school district in Southern California, where they had a program in which they were rolling out right now. I think they're at 21,000 studio USB devices. As you can imagine, probably schools don't have the largest IT staff, and so that ability to provision, monitor those devices is critical for their success. And to give you some context, that would equate to really about 100 rooms a day in the time in which they've been able to roll those systems out in the 6-month period that they needed to do it. So it's really important to have a management component and then have the visibility into how the devices are being used.
Nice. Thank you so much. Trevor, tell us a little bit about Logitech Sync.
All right, Danny. So yeah, Sync is our cloud management platform for Logitech video conferencing devices. Sync really allows you to save time and resources by remotely monitoring and managing your meeting rooms. This means, updating firmware, modifying all of the settings on your devices with just a few simple clicks. We also gather a lot of information from the room to give you more insights and in-depth understanding about how your actual physical spaces are being used on a day-to-day basis. Now, as for an example of how Sync has helped the customer in the real world, so we've been working with a very large insurance company who's really faced the challenge of just meeting room uptime and making sure that they know that these rooms are up and running all the time and ready for their users to come in. So previously, they had people going around every morning to check out and make sure everything is perfect, everything is working as they expect. So with Sync, they're able to completely eliminate that process from their daily their daily routine. Yeah. So it's provided huge benefit in that aspect. And not to mention, when the time comes around to do firmware updates that are available for those devices, people would have to run around to those rooms, every single time, oh, is this one up to date? Check it. Oh, plug in a laptop, do the firmware update. So Sync really is helping them like save time, effort, and money at the end of the day when it comes to monitoring and managing their hundreds and hundreds of rooms that are deployed throughout their campus.
Nice. Scott, Mr. Scott Houston.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate being here. Yeah, so EPOS manager, again, kind of the same along the lines. I often refer to it as kind of the asset management for many of our customers, knowing who has what, where, keeping everything updated as the marketplace is changing, especially in the world of UC. But a lot of customers where we're removing, desk phones out of there, where, at the time when you don't need to update those types of devices when they're on a desk phone most of the time. So now, since everything is going more on the soft phone, in the cloud, having the ability to maintain those updates, and also make sure everything is staying healthy with the firmware updates, reporting on that, making sure that people are using what you're giving them, as opposed to saying, we keep getting these tickets because they're using unapproved devices, things like that. So always having the visibility and not making it like a full-time job to watch these management software pieces, right? It's, you may be checking it once a week, a couple of times a month, just to make sure that everything is okay, but also communicating from the manufacturer to those end users, hey, there's updates available. You want to check this out, run some tests, make sure everything is cool before everything is sent out. So it also opens up more engagement for the vendors to end users. We maintain that communication. And there's also so many where we want to make it as easy as, everyone else. Because in a lot of cases, they're using multiple versions of software from all of us from here on the call. It very rarely is it just one. So it's also maintaining there's some kind of uniformity there. We want to achieve the same results to make sure that our users have the best experience possible. And that's really what it does with minimal time. Again, not spending 8 hours a day doing this, but you want to take 15 minutes, you push out an update, and you're good to go. That's been the case for us up here in Connecticut, where I am with several insurance institutions, where they've been doing the hard phone removal more in the contact center space, making sure things are updated in high turnover scenarios, making sure we're not repeating headsets to people, especially in the times of that we're living in today. So it becomes also a health and safety issue just to know where things have been, some history there. And it's certainly been making people's lives a lot easier, I think, over the last few years, since it's been a little more accepted out in the marketplace, I think.
Nice. And Mr. Tim Hernquist, Jabra.
Thank you, Danny. Very similar to the others, I would say. So just to keep it around the differentiators, maybe just so you understand what Jabra is doing, we have Jabra Direct, which is our personal software that allows you to do personal updates as well as personalize your device. And then we have Jabra Express, which is a central device management system that is helping IT departments like those guys, deploy large deployments of headsets. But it also is collecting analytics and helping IT teams be a lot more efficient as they do it. I would say that a lot of the stuff that is really interesting on the cloud side, when you do have a mass deployment system like this, collecting information from the headsets is probably where the value comes in a lot, at least for us. Being able to analyze room usage, like we heard before, but also things like background noise, if people are wearing the headsets or not, through gyro sensor information, as well as even hotspots within certain offices. You could help think about your floor spaces. You can help think about if people's homes are too loud, and you can think about maybe changing devices or helping them work through solutions there, especially in a home work life weird hybrid scenario that we see today. In terms of a success story, I think one of our best success stories is kind of a privately held multinational agriculture company in the Midwest. They use Jabra Direct and Jabra Express both together. So they force the Jabra Direct on everyone's laptops to make sure their devices are up to date. And then they mass deploy firmware updates as we roll them out and make our devices better. and they're right now managing more than 25,000 devices, and it's not just USB headsets, it's also DECT headsets, it's also video, and basically everything we have. So they have it all in one, and they're quite happy that it's no charge from Jabra.
Nice. All right, so that's a good segue because you mentioned the enterprise and the individual. So in terms of the differences, because all of you have a enterprise and an individual desktop sort of app or software. One of the questions that we get from customers is, do they need both? And so we'll start with Marty.
All right, thanks. Yeah, so the Lens offering, Poly Lens, the administrator portal, operates separately, but together with the desktop app. So they can operate separately. And if you were, let's say you were just wanting to manage your video devices, you could easily just do that within the Lens admin portal and be done. But if you had, let's say, a set of headset users or USB speakerphone users, private video endpoint users, and you wanted that to be part of that experience, then you would roll out the desktop app. And you can think of it really as an extension beyond the corporate deployment of video endpoints or even conference phone and speakerphone endpoints into the mobile or remote workforce. So the application is meant to enable the end user to make certain setting for personal adjustments based on what their environment looks like. I think Tim had mentioned about it's unpredictable what the environment looks like in the home office, and you may need to compensate for backlight on your video endpoint, the P15 for instance, or you may need to set certain settings with your VAS provider. Maybe you're you have preferences there. Maybe you're using it for music, because a lot of our devices are really great for just playing music. So that desktop app allows you that level of customization from the end user. And then when it's talking to the cloud, when it's talking to the administrator portal, then we apply appropriate levels of information to the administrator so that they can more easily understand the adoption, they're able to much easier troubleshooting and things like that. So and then the application also has some delighters that we like to talk to, which is it has a lot of self-help. We talk about scale and support for IT really would like the user to try and help themselves when they can. So we have links and documentation within the application. And then we have these delighters, which are really geared towards health and wellness. So things like reminders for hydration, or hey, you've been in calls for 4 hours, maybe you should take a break, that kind of thing, and all customizable based on your workday. So the application is good on itself and fantastic when it connects into the administrative portal for that reason.
Nice. Trevor.
All right. Yeah. That Marty's explanation was really good about how these apps work together in the enterprise and sort of the kind of consumer area. And I think that brings up a very good point that I think what we're seeing is a lot of convergence between what is considered ready to use for the enterprise environment and what a consumer can just go and grab as well. So specifically an example comes to mind of like Google Workspace, right? This is something that you would use individually, but also your organization is going to roll that out for your whole team to use. So similar to what Marty explained with how the devices work with Poly Lens with Logitech Sync, it's a very similar model. So the Sync portal is the cloud backend in which our Logitech Tune app will connect to. This is actually for our personal devices, so webcams and headsets. This connection between Logitech Tune and Sync will be rolling out soon later this year, but it will provide the same sort of visibility to the personal collaboration devices to the IT manager. So they'll have that visibility directly into those types of devices, living on your desk here, and give them that visibility. While at the same time, this is the same app, Logitech Tune, that an end user who just buys a Brio or gets a Zone True wireless headset that they'll want to download to configure to make sure they're being represented on their video calls just like they want to be. So making sure color correction is correct, they frame themselves nicely, and then I got my side tone all set up so I can hear my dog and anything. So giving both the enterprise and the consumer get what they want, kind of all in one package is where we're really heading here.
Nice. Scott.
Yeah, a lot of the same from me as well. I think from an EPOS standpoint, we're very anxious to do more in the kind of the consumer space for it, right? The app that goes on your phone for those devices. When you think, kind of the traveling headsets, everyone's going to have the active noise canceling and going there. And what feature set is going to be different there than what you're going to see kind of on the enterprise side, where we can change things like noise canceling level, right? If someone doesn't want the noise canceling at 100% all the time, it gives them migraines. Finding your sweet spot and having that ability to take it with you, on your phone, and it's not always attached to your laptop or your desktop in most cases. So finding the balance, what products that works with, again, you're kind of having that separation of different products are going to do different things within the softwares. So I think those, really today we see it as those that really kind of know what they're using. They say, okay, I'm familiar with this brand. I like this. What other options do they? And they'll go and seek out, kind of that personal software experience for it. A lot of times, unless, something they buy, from a brick and mortar or online, and then you're kind of advertising in the box, which everyone does as well. So the use case is going to be very different than from that enterprise point where it's, we wanted to do this. It's very, kind of a tunnel vision thing, minimal. And then we want to open it up for consumers. And that's where kind of that personalized software will come into play. I think over the next, few months, at least for the rest of this year, I think everyone's learned, okay, we can put a lot more at the individual's fingertips to do more with our product. Or personalize it for themselves. And I think that's where we're going to see a lot of growth in a space where companies like ours didn't really have a lot of those users that were walking into some stores and buying a device and trying to get that experience. We understand what that experience is, especially when they need the voice, when they want to communicate with their friends and family and coworkers too. And, we're kind of bridging that gap a little bit, which I think is great from all of us, and is, it's definitely going to be a key to success for all of us as well.
Yeah, thanks. Tim.
I totally agree. I was going to say the same thing that Scott just said. I think the answer is yes from us. You definitely need an enterprise cloud version or on-prem if you need additional security. And then you do need this personal device, either on the desktop software or on your mobile phone. We do a lot of stuff also on our mobile phone to personalize, especially when you're in differing contexts. So if you're on the go or if you just want some quiet time. So that gives the user a lot of power. I think on the enterprise side, which is really interesting from the deployment point of view, I also think because you said of this hybrid ways of working that we're seeing these days, the enterprise grade version of your deployment software is important to manage that kind of shadow IT problem that's going on, where users are buying their own consumer grade devices and maybe they're not integrating very well into the communication platforms that the companies have decided upon. And when you do have a device management software built in, then you can start to build a picture of who's using the right stuff and who's not using the right stuff. And if it's a large portion and, like you said, it's the voice of your brand, if that's not coming through, then it's easy for you to use that data to go back to your senior level management and say, hey, look, we have an issue and we need to take some actions to correct that. And I think that gives you the ability to do it. Without the data, you're not able to do it. So it's powerful also on the enterprise side.
Nice. All right. So one of the objections that IT has provided for not wanting to support device management software is security. So, and security is a legitimate concern. So what can you tell an IT person who's concerned about downloading or implementing your device management software so that they can, sleep at night? Marty?
Yeah, so certainly customers rightly are concerned with security. And, I think that's exponential concern when we now are connecting from anywhere, right? Connecting in their homes, and you have no idea what the network topology looks like. And there's all sorts of worries, who really gets on the work computer when no one's looking, that kind of thing is a big concern. And so I think our primary goal at Poly is to become and continue the trusted advisor, right? I generally feel that our security strategy, when we share it with the customers, when we give them deployment examples, share with them the certifications that we've gone through, it really does help them navigate those concerns. And I've yet to run into a situation where it just is a non-starter, right? So most always it's about a discussion with the appropriate people. Typically, we would engage our Poly Security Office staff and experts in the security field, as you would imagine. And so really, I think that's our major role, because our security staff participates in the development throughout the entire process, birth to grave, I like to say. And I think really it's about being the trusted advisor and sharing out all the testing and certifications that we adhere to. So.
Nice. Trevor.
Right. Yeah. Similarly to Marty's, answer there, I think with, what would you say to customers who are concerned with security in that aspect, and say, we got you covered? We deal with customers all the time, with this aspect of their concerns, which, yeah, again, completely valid. But Sync was really developed with this in mind from the ground up. So like we built it with the latest technology and followed industry standards, with continuous integration and development, third-party pen testing, encryption standards, et cetera, throughout the development process. We're very happy with the platform we've developed and made available for our customers. And to help respond to those concerns, we have a privacy and security white paper that you can download, learn how the platform was built, what kind of data do we store, how is it sent back and forth, all of that great information from there. We also have self-assessment questionnaires to really help with those nitty-gritty security reviews that the teams are doing, to help really move those processes along, rather than it being very tedious and slow. So we're very prepared to help you out with that. And of course, pen tests available upon request to help out with those security concerns. And we work with a lot of customers that with security concerns, and they've, up to this point, they've been very happy with what we've been able to do so far. Even with companies are very strict around these types of policies, like certain aerospace companies that we work with that are very happy with the help that we've been able to provide. And we're always looking for ways to improve it and continue to support our Sync customers.
Nice. Scott.
Yeah, very much of the same. I often get more concerned when they don't ask about security when we talk about these things. And some customers, yes, of course, it's assumed that no one's going to do the bare minimum when it comes to security. I'm sure it exists. I don't think any one of us here would say, oh yeah, we get that, we check these boxes, but that's it. So I think there's more awareness that, yes, we all are a part of kind of that bigger picture. We all want to make sure that no one's not going to buy from us because of security, or have different options. There might be different layers to it. When we think of, for the management stuff, there's cloud or on-prem. And then, how is that going to be different? I have had people say, well, tell me exactly where your facilities that you use from Microsoft for the cloud stuff. Is it that one town over there? Okay, I've been there before. I know that place. Yes, you're okay. So it really all depends on who you're talking to. Insurance, financial. There's going to be certain markets and verticals that will treat it very differently, where you say, hey, here's the login, go take a test drive, tell us what you think. And they'll say, okay, yeah, it's going to be about 6 months before we can totally vet you. So it's also kind of having patience with them to say, we know that this is of the utmost importance to you. We hope we meet all of your criteria, but also saying, when you're done with that, if we didn't, what are we missing? Don't just tell us no. Wanting that follow-up, where did a failure happen, or where was there a vulnerability that we can make sure that isn't exploited, or something that had happened. And again, it brings back to that communication, because you become, as Marty said, the trusted advisor, and that's a part of it. And especially in the world of headsets, as an example, is a small part of really what they're doing on a day to day, and we wanted to make it the last thing that they need to worry about too. Especially if again, we're just talking headsets, speakerphones, and making sure the firmware is up to date. So it's there's a lot that really goes into it, and not so much overthinking, but really how we can simplify it even more so. I think is really the goal for all of us, to make it just an easier journey for everyone.
Nice. All right, Tim.
I would add to the conversation by saying that security starts with how much data you're also collecting. So we try to be really careful not to collect everything, just with the stuff that we need. And the stuff that we do collect, we make sure it's anonymized all the time. Jabra Direct and Express are SOC 2 compliant, which means it's kind of an enterprise grade level for confidentiality and security. And we let that compliance be audited on an annual basis by one of the top 4 consulting firms. So we're making sure that we're not, just saying it. We're actually testing the system with third-party people. I would also say that it's a little bit of a dance between the hardware that we're providing and the software that's collecting some of the data. You want to make sure that the headset collects background noise, but maybe not recognize certain things. Especially important is also on the video side now. I think more and more as we go towards video, and video becomes an important part of everyone's life, doing video processing on device, and not sending raw data to the cloud or sending raw data to a compute unit, but only sending results, I think is one of the things we've really tried to focus on. And then, we put in ability for people to put a password in basically at every step. So if they really want to lock it down, they can go for it, and only they know their passwords. So I would say there's a lot more coming. SOC 2 compliance, GDPR compliance, those are some standards. But I think as time goes on, and as we continue to stay at home, and IT managers continue to assess security threats that have gone through the roof over time, I think we all need to work harder on getting better at it.
Nice. We're going to stay with you, Tim. So in terms of, because, we were just talking about how I remember so clearly, so vividly, we're going to go home. It's going to be like 2 weeks, and then we're all going to be back. And here we are almost 2 years later, right? So what do you see, or what does Jabra see for the future of device management software?
Yeah, there's a lot of smarter people than me thinking about that right now. But I think the common thing for us is around context. So being able to be in different contexts wherever you are during your day. So if you're at the office, or if you're at home, or if you're on the go, you want an adaptable device management platform that follows you and supports you in terms of security and software updates and all that stuff, but at the same time allowing you to personalize your experience as you go along. And that needs to be kind of in one happy experience. It can't be the mobile app or the desktop app or the cloud app. It needs to be kind of a one large adaptable platform that is thinking about you in terms of your context. So that's the type of work we're putting into thinking about that for the future.
Nice. And Scott, we're going to change it up.
Oh, you're going backwards. Much of the same. We're thinking about how, we can start implementing for the implants. I'm excited to see, and I agree with you, Danny, that, I remember when, it's just a couple weeks, and, we'll be back on planes and back at trade shows. And when we are all together at a trade show again, come find me. First one's on me. But it's kind of more that it's, who's at home, who's in the office, everything that's happening in between. And again, more of that stuff that's going to happen on mobile devices and not so much on larger hardware, laptops in the enterprise, what we're going to be able to do separately, have more control over, especially in other UC clients, having more customization. And I think it's also, started to, open up the path for better improvements in devices themselves and how they interact with each other, right? We see how kind of in the consumer world, how that's working, and seeing how it's helping them grow with devices. And as we kind of put more things out there in that world too, because people don't want to carry 9 things around with them, or or just 2 devices. It's how do I get to really just the one that fits every aspect, and if it's a profile change, things like that. So it'll be very exciting to see what it looks like in a year from now. If we all come back for the same panel, what's changed in 12 months? I think that would be very fun. But yeah, it's just exciting. And, I think the mystery of it is the best part is, the people who are behind the scenes that are thinking the what 2 to 3 years already looks like, and how that has changed just because of the last 18 months. It is probably fun to look at those notes and see, it's like, oh, we can't do that anymore. So.
Yeah. All right, Trevor.
All right. Yeah, I'll hold you to that drink, Scott. Somewhere there. Yeah. So with with these types of platform, and specifically Sync, I really think that management is really just the beginning of what we're able to do here. So, once IT managers' time is freed up, with such simplified management and monitoring capabilities, it frees up a lot of time for other things. So what we're looking at is really, not only for the IT manager, but other parts of the organization, how can we, give them the information that they need to make informed decisions about how to make more, informed decisions about their environment and what to do and how to make it more effective, to make more equitable meetings for your teams, and just more effective meetings in general, so that your teams can continue to collaborate no matter, how dispersed they are.
Nice. And Marty.
I too will take up Scott on his offer. So hopefully we'll be in person next time. Yeah. So, I would agree with Trevor on the fact that we will continue to see devices be smarter, right? And they're going to provide a lot of raw data. So what we as vendors need to do is make sure that we're consuming that raw data, and then providing customers with with real information that they can make useful, whether that's intelligently knowing if rooms are being used, if they're over capacity, under capacity, used in different ways. That information is really important to a facilities manager, or to HR, or to safety and security. So Lens is in that world, as I know some of my peers are. And so I think we're going to see more intelligence come out of the devices, oxygen sensors and room capacity and things like that. They're just going to get smarter. And then as vendors, I think we'll see a good success among this group, taking that information and making it useful, again, to the point, to beyond IT. And so making everyone's experience better, improving the space utilization. And that's going to be sort of hand in glove with the number of devices. I think we're going to continue to see multiple devices per person used, to the point made about, you may have your desk phone, you may take your headset with you and to your house, and you may have 2 headsets, or and you may change them out frequently based on in the car or wherever. So I think machine learning, AI probably is that leading in there.
Nice. All right. So this has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, we could go on and on, but I know in the interest of time and people's just, attention span, our viewers' attention span. But I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to get together. And I also want to tell our viewers that I've been working in this industry for over 20 years now. And each and every single one of these partners is here for you, right? Yes, they're probably out there, butting heads with each other and trying to compete for each other. But what I want you guys to realize is that you're not going to go wrong, right? If you go with Poly, Logitech, EPOS, or Jabra, you're not making the wrong decision, because they are all excellent brands. They all support customers globally. That's another reason why I have these panelists here, is because our customers are enterprise customers, and they're global. They're not just in the US, or they're not just in a particular city. They're global, and these guys have the resources and the abilities and the capabilities to support customers in a global scale. And that's really, really important, not only from a device perspective, but from a support and now a device management software perspective. And they're all great. They're all fantastic. So again, you're not going to be going wrong. And we're going to put links to all the individual device management software in the description box below. If you have any questions about this or you want to learn more, our contact info is going to be in the description box below. I really appreciate this, and it would be nice to see, a year from now where we're all at, because I don't see this thing going away anytime soon. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 6 to 12 months. Thank you all again. If you guys have any questions, again, drop them in the comment box and we'll respond. I respond to every single comment that deserves or requires a response. Thank you all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Bye. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.